Woo-hoo-hoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have a friend in the house today, Marianne Avery, coming all the way across the pond from England, and we're just so excited to get stuck in today. So before we reveal our topic, which everybody probably already knows because otherwise they wouldn't be here, Marianne, can you please introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do, and then we'll get chatting.
Wonderful. Thanks, Julian. It's great to be here. So for anybody who doesn't know me, Marianne Avery, and I'm called a LinkedIn confidence coach. So basically that means I help people get confident with LinkedIn, because when you first kind of start out, you don't always know what you're doing. And I like to sort of say to people, I'm a bit like your accountability coach. So I help you get started, and I can be there to sort of, cheerlead you in the background, but chivvy you along as well to make sure you're doing what I've instructed you to do, as it were.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so I'll pull up the banner. So our topic today is from hesitant to confident, transforming your LinkedIn presence. And for anybody who's new on LinkedIn, or even if you're a veteran on LinkedIn, maybe you got to help some people along, or maybe you're still in the hesitant phase yourself because you've been on LinkedIn for a while, but you're kind of like, we talked about it earlier today when we were getting to go live. Sometimes we feel like LinkedIn's like a party, and some of us are standing at the back of the room kind of going, don't really know how to get in the conversations. It's like everybody's standing around in groups and you're just kind of standing there with your, your soda and your like plate of cheese. And you're like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So, before we kind of get talking, Marianne, let's define your LinkedIn presence just so that everybody's on the same page. So what does that mean to you?
I think it's a couple of different things. So one of it is a component of it, which is your profile. So that's sharing with the LinkedIn world and further who you are, what you do. So it's making sure that your profile is complete. But importantly, as we were just talking about, there's a picture of you and it looks like you. And so when somebody comes to your profile, they know what they're getting. So what they read about you and what other people have written about you is how you are in person, and you are how you display yourself. So that's one element of it. And then for me, the other element of it is how you are engaging. I'm not sure I really like that word, but that's what we all use, isn't it? So you're liking, you're commenting, you're having conversations offline, whether you're just doing the DMs or you're joining groups or you're sending voice notes, whatever it is, you are present on LinkedIn. That's terrible English, but that's what it means to me. What does it mean to you?
I think you summed it up nicely, because I think it is a combination of sort of your profile is that foundation. And so you have to think,
yes.
And you think about anybody is whether they're going to connect with you or maybe they're going to follow you. We're going to go to your profile and we're going to check you out. So you want to make sure that it's kind of ready for company. If we're going to come visit your profile, like you said, does it have a picture? Does it have a banner? Does it adequately tell people who you are and what you do? And it's not just your resume. There's so many people that literally they take a resume, they put it up, and it's like, your resume is not you. I don't get a sense of who you are as a person if you just say, I worked here, here, here. It's not the same.
It's funny you say that, because I use that when I'm teaching people, because that's what I use LinkedIn for. So when I came out of the corporate world, well, take a step back. When I was in the corporate world, it was kind of suggested that you had a profile, and mine was like a CV. I don't think I even had a banner, but it just listed the jobs that I'd done. If you were going for an internal job, you might sort of update it, but that was it. It was kind of like a static document almost. So I've come a long way from there, but it helps me when I'm teaching people, and I do often say to people, it's a bit like dating. As I was single for a long time and did a lot of online dating. So you need to be, I hate this phrase, but you need to be selling yourself. So when somebody meets you and they want to work with you, you need to be authentic and be that person. And, you don't just slide into the DM. I know there's been a lot of posts about that recently, but you don't just slide into the DM straight after connection, start trying to sell somebody your latest thing. You've got to build that relationship. It's like dating and networking. You don't just go straight over, go hello, and try and sell them something. You build that rapport, and they've got to like and trust you before they even think about buying from you. So yeah, it's a form of dating in a way.
I
In my
love
mind,
that.
but
I love that. And don't ask me to marry you. It's like,
yeah,
it's
exactly,
like,
exactly.
not
You
too
know, if
soon, too soon.
you're having a drink and somebody's like trying to get really heavy with you, like whoa, 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 warning signals. It's just like when somebody sends you a sales DM out of the blue, you're like, oh, hello, who are you? Do I know you? No.
Yeah. And I've noticed lately that a lot of people are, just speaking of DMs, a lot of people will send me a DM and, it's really nice, but it's like you can feel there's a pattern. It's like they ask a question, you answer it. They ask a question, you answer it. And then comes the pitch. And it's like, oh, this must be a formula. Cause it's like, and you feel by the second one, I don't think you really want to get to know me. I think I just fell into the trap.
Beth and I were, and I know you've got Beth as a guest later this month, and we were talking about things that are a real no-no, and it's like, why do people do it? But it's really icky, but it must work for some people, because otherwise, why do they keep doing it? But you have to think almost falling for it, or unless they're contacted them at the exact right moment when they're thinking, do you know what, I need this thing, and then it pops up in their DMs. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not for me, but
No, not for me at all. Not for me at all. So, getting back to presence, I also
yes.
think it's your tagline. Your
Mm,
tagline is, I love that the tagline follows you everywhere on
yes.
LinkedIn and in the comment when you're posting, whatever. And I think a well-crafted tagline is like a conversation starter. To me, it's again, kind of going back to LinkedIn as a party. Do you want to have a name tag that just says Jillian Whitney, or would I want to say I help people sparkle with such and such, or like something that people are like, wow, what's that about? That's
Yeah.
what you want. What's that about?
Yeah, absolutely. You described it. So you need to stand out, but it needs to explain what you do. I did a workshop recently with a couple of older gentlemen. They knew each other quite well, and they'd done some work together. And I used it as kind of like a learning session. And one of the things I got them to do, sit apart, look at each other's profile, look at your banner, and look at your headline. Can you ignore the fact that you know what each other does? If you're just looking at those two things in isolation, you know what that person does. And they both said, I know what he does, but his LinkedIn profile doesn't tell me what he does. I was like, exactly. So it is, I find it really interesting when you're looking at when people have commented, and you look at everything that goes with them from their headline, and you think, well, I don't really know what you do. But if they've written it in quite a way that makes you think, well, actually, I'd like to click through and look at their profile because it's really intrigued me. John Espirian is interesting, isn't he, with his douche canoe? You're like, oh, what's that? I need to go
What's
and find
that?
out about that. And sometimes he puts other things in there. But yeah,
I
it's
love
it's
that.
creating that sort of intrigue, isn't it, that you want to find out more, but not in a icky way.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think we've defined LinkedIn presence. It's a good thing. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, also it's your comments and people don't realize that it's like I can go to your profile and say you've given me an invitation to connect. I can go to your profile and I can look at your comments. Like I can skip looking at your post, but I can do that as well. But I can look at your comments and it's like if you don't ever comment and all you do is like or something like that, I might think, well, they don't really engage. They're just kind of doing the minimal, it's really easy to click like, but to read a post and actually make a comment that continues the conversation, not just great post, but wow, yes, that happened to me too, blah, 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 then that's kind of being part of the conversation. So comments are important too. So I like that all that goes
And
together.
that's something I talk to some of my clients about. Is I'm like, why do you just like? And they're
Mm,
like, well, I don't really know what to say.
mm.
And it's an interesting conversation, because it's kind of like you've got value to add if you are looking at content from the right kind of people that are in your network that you've created successfully, or people that you want business. You've got insight that is useful, so you need to sort of shift your mindset and start thinking about, well, how can I add that?
Yep.
What do I know? How can I, like you said, that's happened to me too. You know, it just starts building that conversation. But some people do struggle with stepping from just clicking and moving on to the next one. Where can I click like?
Exactly. To me, it would be like joining the LinkedIn party, joining a circle, and all you do is nod. Like you're nodding, like, oh yeah, I agree with this, but you never add your 2 cents. So I think that's
And
important.
no one's going to get offended if you suddenly put in a comment.
No, they're like
doesn't
it.
work like that. Exactly.
Everybody likes it. They're like, oh, yay, you're joining our conversation. Come on in. The water's fine. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So when we talked about LinkedIn presence, and I think we're all on the same page with that. So hesitant to confident, what do you think holds people back? Like I know when I first started with LinkedIn, I was very hesitant. I just consumed posts. I didn't like the word lurker, so I like the word consumer. And I was active by consuming posts, but I was hesitant to jump into the conversation. So since you coach on that, what is making people hesitant, Marianne?
Well, it's one of the first questions that I ask when I'm doing a workshop or working one-on-one with people. And majority of people are scared of not knowing what to do. There's also a fear of being judged. I'm not I don't know what the right word is, a particular coach where you're going to draw out, where that fear comes from. I'm much more kind of literal around, okay, if you're worried about that, these are some examples of things that you can do. And I teach a lot by showing examples. So let's go and look at somebody who's very similar to you. What kind of comments are they making? To sort of show that it's not scary, and that if someone has made a comment, nobody's gone, oh, what are you doing? You don't know anything. Everybody has got an area of expertise or your own experience. And that's a really good place to start. So once people have shared a couple of comments and not gone, oh my God, people are attacking me, or, angry comments back, they then like, okay, yeah, I feel more comfortable. I can, and then just set little challenges like, right, okay, today, why don't you go and comment 3 times? Ooh, why don't you comment 5 times? And just building up that confidence. I mean, I hate this phrase, but it's kind of like, it's not rocket science. You've just got to try it by testing it and keep doing it, and then it becomes natural.
Yes. And you can, and that's great. That's great. And I think that you can meet so many new people. It is networking, playing in the comments, I always call it the conversation party, the party in the comments. But by engaging in the comments, that's opening up your world to, meeting new people, connecting with new people. I know sometimes I'll comment on a comment, like I'll comment on the post, and I'll, reply to the author who wrote the post. But sometimes I look through what other people are commenting, and I just go, oh, well, that's interesting. And I might follow up with that. And the next thing you know, that person and I are connecting all on somebody else's post.
Yeah.
And also I might connect with the author of the post. So it's a really great way to grow your network. And to be honest with you, that's 100% how I started LinkedIn, because I didn't really know very many people, and I thought, well, how do I get to know people? So I began following posts that I found were interesting on topics I liked. And then I would just respond in the comments. And it was really nice for me because people came and invited me to be part of their network.
And that has come from you commenting. Yeah, the comments are really powerful. And I remember reading, I think it was in Richard van der Blom's algorithm report, wasn't it, where he said minimum of 12 words. So I'm always encouraging people, because to write more. And you always think, when somebody just says nice or cool, I'm a bit like, I know sometimes I write a comment and think, well, I haven't quite done the 12 words, but you try to be, I can't think of the word I want, but you try to use words in the right way, and always be positive and encouraging. And if somebody's having a bad time, you can share your experience in that it will get better. Or if somebody's launching something, then, you know, you're excited for them. You know, I saw Gus shared earlier this week, he's thinking about launching membership. It was like, yeah, go Gus, I'll be there. Let me know if you need any help. You know, that's what it's about, isn't it? You are the cheerleader for people, and you never know where things will lead to.
I love that. I love that. And so another thing is, I know we had a wonderful Michelle Obama quote in the description of our live today. I should have like written it out and I could flash it on the screen, but I don't remember it by heart. But do you remember it by heart?
No, I don't remember it by heart, because there's bits of it that I sort of use, but she was talking about how you learn and you get confident. And to me, that summarizes exactly what it is that I do. I'll have to see if I find it while we're chatting.
And the essence of it is education can help build your confidence. And some of us, to be honest with you, I think some of us, especially if you're a newbie on LinkedIn, you can get on LinkedIn and you're just like, I don't really know the rules, so I don't know how to play the game. And I know you come from a background of playing rugby, which I think is marvelous and so fascinating. And could you imagine going to play at a rugby game? But how about an American going to play at a rugby game and not knowing the rules? And so go out there, Jillian, and win for the team. And it's like, I don't know how to play rugby. I don't know how to do this. So I would feel not confident. I would be hesitant, with all good reason to be hesitant, because I have no business being out there. So what are some ways people could educate themselves to be more confident on LinkedIn?
Well, I was just going to, you were sidetracking me a little bit there by talking about rugby, but if anybody is watching and has never been to a rugby match, rugby fans are very friendly. And you always end up sitting next to a rugby fan who will help you understand what's going on. So ask me the question again, because I started thinking about rugby when you mentioned
I
rugby.
love that. And to be honest with you, that could be a whole incredible, analogy itself, how a rugby match is, LinkedIn is like a rugby match. So I think that's great. But it was just a question of educating ourselves. What are some of the ways that we, because maybe we don't know the rules when we get on LinkedIn, and that's half the reason why we're hesitant.
Well, straight away, I'm thinking of three things. So number one, LinkedIn themselves have so many helpful articles. At the top, you've got the help. So you can put in there and ask questions. You can go to Google and ask questions. I mean, I always think of LinkedIn as an extension of Google. But the other way is you can find people who are top voices or authorities on LinkedIn, and you can follow them. And there's lots of people, I think we follow a lot of them ourselves, who share information about LinkedIn and changes and updates to the algorithm. And we've name checked a couple of people: Richard van der Blom, John Espirian. I'm in his LinkedIn membership. An amazing person. But you find people and you ask questions, and most people's DMs are open. So that's how I learn about what's going on. You get alerts, you find different newsletters and you sign up to those, and you just find out what is going on. So the changes, what's coming new. So sometimes you want to understand what's happening with a premium account or a normal account. So just understanding, I think, is a really good way of getting confident. And then testing and learning. I mean, I come from a financial services background, so testing and learning is a big thing, and having lots of different models. So try something and check your analytics. So see, if you're not sure about whether you want to be using polls in your content, or whether you just want to be using images or whatever it might be, test it and go and look at your analytics and see, has it gone up? Has it gone down? What do you want to do? Do more of it. Try different times of the day, different days of the week. But people just starting out, I try to not confuse them with testing and learning. Just get comfortable with what you're doing, and then we can take it up a notch.
I like that. And I also think I like to, when I first started, on LinkedIn, I would save posts that I liked. And I just say, yes, oh, I really like this post, because I think if you want it, whatever attracts you is probably part of what you'll want to give back. So if you say, I really liked how she did this poll because she asked such an interesting question, and look at all these people gave her great advice. Plus, look at all the engagement. She got like 80 comments on her poll, as opposed to somebody else who just says, do you like chocolate or vanilla ice cream? Who wants to answer that kind of poll? But if it was a poll about when do you find is the best time for you to post, I'm just asking, you're going to get a ton of different people, and that can be an education in itself. So saving those posts and figuring out what resonates for you is probably going to become part of your brand, your style itself.
And looking at what your sector are doing as well. As we learned at Uplift Live, there's some really powerful ways of searching LinkedIn.
True.
Because, some of the people that I work with, they'll be like, I don't know what to post about. And you start asking them questions about, your business and who do you help and what kind of testimonials have you got? Right. Well, there you go. There's content. But I think if you're not in the bones of it, you don't necessarily think in content.
I got that.
I'm working with somebody at the moment who's got a really interesting story. And they've run their own business, and the way that they can help people is they learn, the lessons that they've learned, they bring forward, but they don't talk about that. And I was like, I only know that because you've told me that face to face. We've met at a networking event. But if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they know that the position you're coming from? Because you don't tell them that. And they went, oh yeah, I see what you mean. But I love your idea or your suggestion about saving posts, because you can do that in LinkedIn. It's great. And one exercise I have done with clients in the past is looking at pieces of content. Why is that drawing your attention? What do you like about it? Is it the structure? Is it the image? Is it the mix of it? Is it the spacing? What is it? And then, but also conversely, what don't you like? What posts have you come across that you don't like? Why don't you like that? And let's meet in the middle.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I'm going to just pop into our audience today, and I have, let's see. LinkedIn user, Jillian and Marianne, greetings from the front row. This has to be Jeff Young. So I don't know.
I was going to say, no,
but I know that this has been a clunkiness because John Asperian had it last week. So something goofy is going on. So popcorn in hand, we know it's you, Jeff, because it's Columbus, Ohio, and we see those little namaste hands. And so something very goofy is going. Another one, even LinkedIn veterans need some help sometimes to raise their visibility quotient. Quote. I can't say that word.
I can't say that either.
I can't say that word. Yes. Thank you. And Marcia. Okay, we get to see Marcia. I need help always. My pride is not in my wallet. So it's like, admit you need help, and people will help. People are so kind on this platform. So Pamela says, hey. So she's joined us today. Thank you for coming, Pamela. And Marcia says, Marianne Avery and Jillian Whitney, glad to collect platinum nuggets. Oh, we're better than gold. We're better than gold. We're platinum. I love that. LinkedIn user, your resume is the steak. LinkedIn is the sizzle. I always love that about the sizzle and getting that all together. And it is Jeff Young, because Pamela's saying Jeff Young. Absolutely.
I want to know if Jeff has got salt or sweet popcorn. But anyway.
Yes. Is it kettle corn? What exactly is that? What is that? That's so. Carolina says, Jillian Whitney, that is so true. So I don't know what part it was, but everything we say is true. So thank you for joining
Carolina,
us.
It's lovely to see you. We met at a networking event a few weeks ago.
Lovely. And that's what always so fun about these lives is you're bringing people together from different networks, and then the people who are watching are meeting the people. And I always encourage people
commenting on the comments.
Yes, comment on the comments. And if you see other people on the live today in the audience, look at their profile. You might, you might have something in common because you all came here together and now you're strangers, but you can leave as friends. So it's always kind of a neat thing. So I love that. I love that. Marcia says, I need to come with a more creative tagline. So do you have any suggestions for that, Marianne, getting those creative taglines?
Well, John Espirian has a really great way of structuring it. So Marcia, I'll take your details and I'll share a post that he's done recently, but I'm always fiddling with my headline. I don't know about you, Julia, but
Work
I
in
see someone's
progress.
and I think, oh, that's really good, cool. And I look at mine, I'm like, oh, it could be better. But I always like to try and have a couple of different things in there because people don't always hone in on one thing. There was a phase, was it 2-3 years ago, where people had I help in there, and you just think, no, that's a waste of words, because we know that everybody's here to help somebody do something, so you don't need that in there. So like, how are you going to structure it sort of in a sandwich effect? Yeah. But Marcia, I will take a little note and I will send you something.
It'd be fun to actually have an article of like, here's some examples of like, the really cool LinkedIn taglines. That would actually make
I did in one of the last trainings that I did. I'd taken some screen grabs of different ones because I'd done a mini audit before, and I was kind of like, you need some help with your headlines. So here are some great examples of the structure. So have a go and get creative. But if you are not a creative type, then there is lots of copywriters out there who are always happy to help.
Yep. And that's a good idea. Sometimes you got to outsource for the things that you don't have the talent for. And like even the idea of having an audit, it's very, very difficult for us to audit our own profiles because we're too close, kind of that you can't see the forest for the trees. So sometimes that's why, you could have a friend do it. You could have a colleague and it's like, okay, you review my profile, I'll review your profile. But sometimes that's why you want to hire somebody to do that kind of thing. I know that's something that you do, Marianne, where you would do a profile audit because you don't know the person. So you can, but you know what should be there. So you can look at their profile and say, okay, it's really not clear what your about sections, I have no idea what, if I was coming to your page, what I should do next.
And you've got a lot of text to use, so use it.
Yeah.
I was working with somebody recently and theirs didn't even go past the see more. And I was kind of like, why?
Yeah. And even that whole bit about you really want to be from, it's not about you, it's about them. It's like how if somebody comes to your profile, they want to know what's in it for me. And if it's all about, I did this, and I'm, a superstar, and it's like, okay, so how would you help me? I don't know. Bounce. And that's it. You don't get another chance.
It's back to the dating, isn't it? It turns you off because you're kind of like, I don't want to know about you. I want to know what you can do to me.
Exactly. So Pamela says, I look at comments and so on before I will accept a connection request. No time for pitch slaps. Yay.
And Pamela, another thing to go and look at is recommendations as well, to see not just the recommendations people have received, but what they've given as well. That's a good little check as to what they're like.
I like that. That's a really great tip. Marcia says, I agree with Jillian Whitney. Engagement is important. It truly is. And I think that I don't really care about follower counts and numbers and stuff. It's like, if I go to somebody, they could be like 300 people, like they're brand new on LinkedIn. But if it looks like they're trying to be active, they're trying to engage, I'm happy to, but it's like, if I go to somebody's profile and all they do is share posts, they never comment, they just share other people's posts, they don't post anything. I just think, would I really want that person in my newsfeed? I don't think so, because I don't feel they're giving other people's stuff away. And so it's like, so I think engagement is very important. It's very important. Jeff says, LinkedIn is such a good place to learn by joining in. Remember, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Ooh, that's a good one. I
like that, Jeff.
So Marianne, we are almost coming to the end of our 30 minutes.
We are.
It just goes
Gone
flying
quick.
by. Yeah, it goes flying by. So going from hesitant to confident, what kind of takeaway, what final message would you want to share with us about that?
I think I would just say, don't be scared. It's not a scary place. It's a very friendly place, and just go for it and try things out. And if you need some help, then find a buddy.
That's great. That's great. You know, there's so many people out there to do that. So that's great. Well, thank you very much, Marianne, for being here today. Thank you for everybody who joined us, and we will see you all again next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.